All right, so here we go. Hey guys, welcome to PA Blue Collar Outdoors podcast. We're also on it's also on YouTube on Tipsy Rippers. This is podcast number 6, I think, or 5 or 6.
One of those numbers.
One of those numbers. I can't remember, but basically the topic of this one's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag. We're going to kind of give an update on our season coming up next month. A little bit over a month for archery season over here, so we're pretty excited about that.
Like 3 days over a month.
Yeah, it's real
It's close.
So we're really excited about that. And then we kind of want to talk about some things we want to work on and some new things that we worked on this year. I think like the general idea is we do want to go into things we want to get better at, but we do want to talk about our season. So I'll let William start it off and kind of like talk about. He did a lot of it, so I can't really take credit because I haven't had time since.
Which I didn't even do that much.
Yeah, but you still did get a good.
So we pretty much started out with like a whole new take this year on things. We didn't do any food plots like we did last year. We experimented with food plots, small ones, couple last year, with like the throw and grow and cereal rye, other stuff that people suggested to us. We had a little bit of luck with them, but nothing like extreme. We still did mineral blocks this year. We put out another one. They usually last a year, which is good because they're like $7-8 for a 50-pound mineral block that lasts a year. They're like, you can't beat it. We just make holders out of
It's like 2x10s, 2x12s.
Yeah.
Any wood, but I mean.
So they don't rot out.
Yeah, 2x10, 2x12.
You made that plywood one I did last.
Yeah,
time.
the plywood. Yeah, the plywood
do
one.
that.
Don't do plywood. It rots right away.
Yeah.
I don't suggest it. But
Then it falls. And
I mean, that's all I had, so that's what I made it out of.
it worked for the but yeah, don't do that. So that's a good thing to add in there. So we're hunting in completely new spots, except for the one stand is in the same spot that we had where we had a food plot before and everything else, mineral block. I just put apples out there last week, and it blew my mind that all the apples were gone within a week. Like not a trace of apple, like a whole giant, probably 30-gallon garbage bag full of apples just gone in a week. Like you could watch them dwindle on the trail camera, which blew my mind.
Dude, they knocked those apples out.
I couldn't believe it. Half of them were like rotten. I wouldn't say half of them, but like probably a third gone. Not a trace. You would never be able to tell there was apples there ever.
Let me tell you this real quick. Why I know they'll demolish apples is my brother had a truck bed full of apples, and we dumped them all on the ground, and he told me the next week they were all gone. Like a truck full. And
that's a lot.
Demolish them.
That's way more than I had.
Like it was data. I mean, where we put it was a high traffic
Oh
area.
yeah, already.
It was like his dad's property, but like his dad told him and told me because I went hunting with him twice at his spot, and they always put apples out because they must have like an apple tree in their yard. I think that, and they demolish them. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't. I sent you that picture of the one on the trail camera, like during the day, just like like sticking out of his mouth. I thought it was funny.
It's funny
like,
they pick up the whole apple too.
Yeah, and they're just like trying to eat it.
Were they crab apples?
In his mouth. No, they were regular apples.
I seen some apples
on
the way to Fort, like on the Butler. I mean, not Butler. But on my way. I was like, oh, I should grab those. They're like all on the side of the road. I thought about stopping and just throwing a bunch in my bed of my truck so we could have some. But, I mean, technically,
Yeah, we got to have all that stuff out by Tuesday. By
Tuesday.
I'm trying to find the picture so I can show them. I just thought it was hilarious. Like the deer with the apple in his mouth. Like, oh, that was so funny. But, anyways, back to where we were going. I'm probably not going to find it. So anyways, so we're hunting in totally 2 different spots that we never hunted before. They're not completely new to us. The one really kind of is. Back in the woods, we're going to put a blind there. That's new. We never hunted out of a blind, not archery. And I figured, hey, why not? Let's try it. Other people do it. Why not try it? And it's kind of a high traffic area, and it was anyways because we put we got our first cell phone camera, so that was cool. And we put it out there, just kind of a guess. We just threw it out there where we seen a lot of traffic, deer traffic crossing the swamp. Immediately got a ton of pictures, box does, everything, night, day, lots of deer. So we decided, hey, this is probably a good spot. So I went ahead and went, on YouTube. Cody obviously sent me the link, probably last year or whatever.
Probably like 10 times.
Yeah.
Also this year, because he
yeah.
kept asking me like, "Oh, we should make a deer feeder. We should buy one." And I'm like, "Yeah, I sent you a link like 10 times."
Yeah, we were gonna make a PVC one, but like
he didn't watch it. Just like, no.
Yeah, well, I did, but it was a while ago, and like it was just right over. I don't even remember. So I'm like, oh, we'll make a PVC one. I go to the store. First off, they don't have any 6-inch PVC. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I guess we'll make 4-inch. Well, the 4-inch PVC fittings are like ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, we're making a bucket feeder then. So he sends me the video again because I'm like determined now. We're making a feeder. So I go up and get a bucket off of him. I had some all thread laying around. I had some nuts and stuff, and I didn't have a soup can, of course. So I used a one of the pre-mixed 2-stroke gas cans. I used that. It's even bigger. So he's like, oh, you got to cut the end off of it because the wind catches it. Okay. I thought the idea was when the deer bumped it, the corn hit it and made, the noise. So then they're like, oh, it's feeding time. But no, that's just part of it. So whatever. I cut that.
I know. I was kind of a dick about it too, but
yeah, you're like, do you even know what that's for?
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, the corn hits off of it, makes noise, and they bump it to get the corn out of it. So they know, but no, that's not at all the whole story. It's,
I think like the guy we got I watched it from. It was from 10 years ago, and the sole purpose was cut off the end and get wind. I don't know if it actually does it because I
don't know either
it.
Because they in the meantime, they just on the camera they just stick their freaking mouth up there and lick it right out of the hole, and they're eating it right out before it even hits the ground. So. What is that can even for, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, before, like, I was like, oh, maybe it's too high. Now it might be too low. So it's
I put it a little bit lower, not a whole lot.
Yeah, now they can, like, get right to it, and there's, like...
But even if, like, you figure, like, the bucket is, like, huge. It's not real big, but, like, the wind, it's just suspended from a limb. If the wind blows the bucket, it's still going to shake corn out, and it does.
I was just being a smart ass about it.
Yeah,
so,
well...
You know how it goes.
So...
You know how I am.
We did a bucket feeder. I put it like 50 yards up from the original spot where we put the camera. Oh, man, it just... Day and night, just pictures all the time. Like, deer we never even seen before. Deer we had no idea were down there. This is like a totally new spot. It's pretty thick down in there other than like in the swamp area. There's not a lot of thick trees or brush or anything. Other than that, there's like it's gonna be a hard spot to put a blind because there's a lot of high traffic areas in there. They're crossing, and then they have paths intersecting going the other direction, like very heavily used paths. But like I'm just using my general judgment. I'm not like a professional. I'm like, well, you don't want to be too close to these heavily used paths, and you don't want to be too close where they're crossing the swamp. You kind of want to be like back from it, so they're not like pressured, I guess, or they're not like right on top of you, so they're still going to use those paths. So like I marked out a couple spots, but also you want like really good cover for the blind to sit in. You don't want to like right out in the open, but you also want a good view and see a lot, but it's kind of hard because it's thick, like I said, but it doesn't get wide open until you go down to like the swamp area, so you can see a while.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing for a blind, where you could put a stand up and you can kind of put it in a general area up high, and you can almost reach those spots.
Oh, yeah, because you can see farther.
Yeah, so like, I mean, other than cutting down a bunch of trees, there's different than like cutting down branches, but you would have to actually cut down trees everywhere.
Oh, yeah, everywhere.
Like it
just see.
Yeah.
So, and there's vines down there, branches, and falling down stuff. It's very thick.
Yeah,
and
and then
it's tough, and like the paths are very close. Like you've been down there, so they cross the creek in two separate spots where the swamp is, but then they have like two really heavily used paths, like right up from that, and you're like, and like judging on like the camera pictures where they're coming from, they use those, and you don't. We'll see. What That's why I just took big sticks and shoved them in the ground. I picked 3 spots to potentially put it. I wanted your opinion on it. I just don't want to do it myself. Just because I'm like, we'll see. I'm like, I picked these 3 spots, so we'll see.
yeah, it's almost better just like even just have a second person like looking at it, even though you kind of know like maybe this is a better spot, but you also want someone else.
Yeah,
to
because
look
like
at it.
I crouched down. I'm like, okay, we're gonna be about this height in this blind, sitting in a chair. So like, I want optimum like sight to see as much as I can see, but I don't want to be on top of them. But I want to be close to where they're gonna be, patterning. And like, it was kind of neat because I talked to a guy last night that he's hunted for years, never archery hunted, and he's like, he knew the like basics of it. He's like, that's a lot of work. Like, that's a lot of time and work because you got to like pattern the deer and know where they're going and stuff. Whereas like rifle, and it was nice because he was respectful, even though he didn't archery hunt. He was respectful about it, so he knew how much it took, like the effort, the time, the work you have to put in to be an archery hunter. And he's like, in rifle, they're just running all over the place, or you're pushing them, or they're just running everywhere. They're nuts. They're all pressured all the time. And archery, he's like, I should archery hunt. I should, but I don't. So that was kind of cool to have a conversation with somebody like that to get a different aspect of it. But he's right. There's a lot of effort, patterning them, making. I mean, you're still not. They change all their patterns, and when they get in the rut, you don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I tell you the first 2 weeks are my favorite because they still seem to hit at least similar patterns. So like you have a general idea where those bucks are going, at least in like our specific spot, because like I've seen the same buck go in the same spot, the bigger ones, um, and but by the time like the end of the second week, third week, the bigger bucks you don't see them. They're gone.
Gone,
Like
disappear.
like you never seen them again. Whether they get shot or whatnot, I don't know. But like it just seems like at that time they're just gone. Like that's just my opinion. I've heard other people talk about that. Like people love like the first week, the first 2 weeks.
It seems that's when a lot get killed too. The first 2 weeks at
Yeah.
least, yeah.
Because I mean, I've never taken it. I've had chances, but like it's like, oh, do I really want to get something the first week? Like I want to like.
Yeah, see what's in store the rest of
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot. I'm not someone who goes after the biggest buck. I don't like go after I don't have to go after a specific one.
No,
This
I mean we
year-
make target ones.
Yeah, but we don't like we don't go. We ain't getting a buck if we ain't getting this specific one. We don't. Do
Oh
that.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But we do pick like okay, we ain't going after this side. Like this year, you're gonna go after like a target buck actually.
Yeah, because he's old and like his antlers are. I mean, he's legal obviously, but they're like all jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like going back downhill and like he just
and
looks
he's weird
old.
because like he's wide, but like the one side is real wide and the other side's almost like a little bit narrow.
Yeah,
on the
and then
left
like
side.
his freaking main beam's like that. I don't know. I'm like that might be exaggerating, but like this long. But there's only a G1 and G2 on
Yeah,
it, and then there's
it's
like
so
this
weird
much
looking.
of nothing.
It's so long. It's like
Excuse me.
I mean, it's not this long, but it's. I mean, if we're talking, it's like this. But okay, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like this year, I think we're both going to go after more older bucks, target bucks, etc.
Yeah, there's lots of other legal ones, like, but on that camera in this new spot, we're not seeing those deer on our other one. And then like on our other like very high traffic area camera, which that one brought, which was kind of weird. We had like 2 shooter bucks that were pretty decent on that camera for the whole season. The whole time we had the camera out, from start to current. And then just all of a sudden, this like 9, potentially 10 point just shows up out of the random. Like last month, we're like, where'd he come from? Like, what? Why does he start coming here now? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, and it's it's random. Like it just seems like you do listen to other podcasts and they do talk about like they going from different seasons or they do like to follow patterns. Like I know they do somewhat to an extent, but you're also not gonna like pinpoint their pattern. Like
No.
you're not gonna go he like right now. If you said that buck's gonna be first day, he's gonna be right there at 4 o'clock, blah blah blah. I don't believe that. Like
No.
on a Tuesday he's gonna be there at 4 o'clock because he was there every Tuesday at a 4 o'clock. Just because it's the beginning of the season doesn't mean I feel
No.
like they
Yeah.
start to change later in October. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion, especially when you get in the rut.
Oh
Going
yeah,
into
they go nuts.
November,
Like you don't even
yeah,
know.
they definitely. I mean, they'll go to whole different other areas in that point.
Yeah, like just exploring to see. I mean, and then by that point in time, they start to cut down all their food sources, like the soybeans, the corn, that we have around. That's all gone. So like they're really changing their route. Like they're
Yeah.
chasing does now. Their food sources in a different. They don't have that food source any longer. So they're like kind of scavenging for something to eat. So everything's kind of changing. They might go out further. They might. You don't know.
Mm-hmm. And like there was within us talking about this, there's like 10 points I want to make, but I'm trying to keep it to like
General.
Not
so specific.
I mean, obviously we're not professionals and we just listen to a lot of podcasts. We also experience it.
Yeah,
different ways.
YouTube videos.
My opinion, I hunted without cameras for a long time. So my viewing isn't as wide as everybody else's where they use cameras. So they're able to pinpoint all these bucks. But I'm like a little bit old school.
Yeah, they almost like track them.
Yeah, so they track them. They really get into it. This is the first time using trail cameras.
I mean, essentially, the only really reason we use trail cameras is like to see what's out there.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like
we don't got enough time. I realize I don't have enough time.
No, and we don't really have enough like to like physically track them, like to put all our cameras out, like figure out where they're going all the time, like their bedding area and this is their feeding area, so on. But we just more or less have cameras out to see what's there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, these deer aren't over here and these deer aren't over there.
Yep, exactly. Well, I'm going to make 2 points to that. You said earlier about those bucks don't seem to be on the other side. And that's my personal opinion. They might be going over there. We might not be catching them on camera or we might not be seeing them.
Yeah, they might just want to go in that specific area.
But I feel like they're in a different zone. Like, I almost feel like there's like a zone. Like they know where their food's at. And they know where they're like, we'll just call it their home base. They know they go back there. So they go to their food in a different way. Like, just
just like we would go to the grocery store. Like, we're not going to go that way. That way's closer. Why would we go that way?
Yeah,
Exactly. It's like a zone.
Yep. So, like, unless you own a bunch of acreage, you're not going to always catch the same deer or,
Yeah.
And that brings me to, like, I want to talk about another point about cameras and such. Like, we don't, I guess, like, this is the first time we've used a cellular one.
Yeah,
so
it
we're
is.
getting, like, immediate responses. Like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. 9 a.m. Like, wow.
Yeah, and we're not
really?
like
That's crazy. Like,
wasting our time either. Like on that one new spot where we put our stand at, we put a camera up there. It's not been the greatest.
Exactly. You know what? And it might be the greatest when hunting season comes.
Yeah, you don't know, but like, we've moved it in the vicinity a couple times, and like we haven't got nothing. We got like 3 or 4 pictures, but like it's kind of disappointing because we put a stand there, but we're also like, but like you said, you don't know. We know deer go in and out of there all the time, and they're always going out to the field all the time. We see them there in rifle season and archery season, even in turkey season. There's deer out there in the field. It just, yeah, it might be beneficial in season, but just right now we're not. There's not a whole lot of traffic. It's very a broad area too, because they split up and they go, every which way.
Yep, and I would say like 100% they split up right there in our new spot. it's a potentially good spot because we know there's bucks over there. We know there are some couple older ones. The one thing I want to say is, like, I just want to go back real quick, is I've always done my scouting in season because I didn't have enough time to do scouting outside. Where some people can go out twice, 3 times a week, go check where the deer are coming out, check physically. You know what I mean? Physically, or put out a bunch of cameras and stuff like that. And
yeah, or just like sit in their stand. Be like, oh well,
people go
this
sit in
stand
their
is a
stand.
very good spot.
Yeah, and then they sit there all night. Like I don't got that time. That's why we're called PA Blue Collar Outdoors, because we don't got the time to, like, we're just the regular work people. We
Working, busy with their lives. You gotta mow your
family,
grass. Gotta
yep.
take care of your kids. Gotta cook your dinner, and
Yep.
I mean, we don't have property, but it's just 10 minutes to drive over there. That's 10 minutes.
But still enough. It's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
to it
Oh yeah.
sometimes,
You don't just walk right out of your back door and be like,
You're like,
we're gonna go.
Yep, exactly. You can't just like, oh, when we get home real quick, let me go check the camera. No, you have to go home, do a bunch of stuff, and you have to go 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
and now
like
days are getting shorter, so we don't have much daylight to do it.
yeah.
But yeah, we kind of have time to check the cameras. Sometimes, not as much, but I mean, I feel like less often. We have one cell phone camera. I mean,
Which is good though, because I would say our footprint isn't there as much, in my opinion.
yeah, but I
It
still gotta
does-
fill the
Yeah.
feeder. So like, you're not gonna get.
Yeah, but we were checking it like a ton.
Last year we
Yeah.
did. We checked them all like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very, very lot. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's helpful, but I mean, you're still like, I mean, not that I drive right up to the feeder with my quad. I leave it back and walk up.
I mean, the deer that are around our area, they're pretty used to like.
Yeah, cars, quads, because
Yeah.
it's a country location. There's gonna be there's side by sides, quads, cars, right, up and down the road all the time, and the trails, and I mean, even the neighbor guy, when I was down there the other day filling the feeder, he was driving his quad out through the field, and then he came up into the woods. So there's, they're probably pretty used to it by now,
Yeah,
you'd think.
They definitely are. I mean, how many times have we parked our 4-wheeler right beside where we're hunting at?
Yeah.
And we still seen deer
Oh
cross
yeah, we literally
10 feet
drove
from
it
the
right
forest.
in. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, our other places, you're not. We talked about this, last podcast with Andrew. Other places that might affect them because
Yeah, because they're not used to it at all.
But like they're so used to it, and I'm gonna say like obviously the older buck, the more mature doe
Yeah,
and
like
stuff
even you said.
are gonna notice. But
Remember, we had, well, not to cut you off,
oh yeah,
but I'm just
fuck
gonna,
you. No.
well, like in light, because like we had that one buck, that big one on the camera, and I'm like, I'm telling you, where's this big deer at? I switched the place where the camera was, the cell phone camera, like 50 yards up with the feeder and everything. And we had that big buck on there just crossing, just happened to catch him, like maybe 3 times. And I'm like, where's that deer at? Why has he not came to this feeder yet? Like, that blows my mind. It's only 50 yards, up the swamp. Why would he not go to that? Like, and then you're like, oh, well, they don't like to go in front of feeders. They're smarter. And then, like, lo and behold, like, it took, like, what, 2 weeks? And he finally showed up on the camera. We're like, there he is. But he didn't come, like, the way all the other deer come. He came across, like, crossing. Like, there he was. I was, like, blown away. And that was, like, the same day I was complaining about
same
it.
day I was telling you that, and that's exactly funny because like I was like, oh well, they don't. You know what I mean? They're a little bit smarter. Like, at least
Yeah, they have lots of experience,
Yeah.
life experience.
And they know, like, for the most part, they know those cameras are there. I don't know if they know what they're doing, but they definitely know they're there.
Yeah, something's up.
Like, they know that, but like
They're like, why is this giant thing here with full of corn? That's not normal. Like, the corn
Yeah.
is, in a
What's
field.
this hanging? Ooh.
Yeah, like why is there food here in the middle of the woods? Like, that's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're the smartest animal in the world. They're definitely not, but they have like good, what's the word? Blanking on.
Like prey instincts.
Yeah,
Because
instinct.
they're
Yeah. I
prey.
don't
They're
know
a
why I
prey
couldn't think of
animal.
that.
They're not a predator.
Yeah. So like they know, but I mean, right now they feel safe. So it's like, that's not something that's, but you know what I mean? You run into one of the bigger buck, the one that you're saying about, he might have experienced a feeder or cameras and he knows.
Yeah,
He
he's like,
knows
oh,
that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
like he relates it to like, oh, hey, last time I was around one of these, it wasn't so great.
yeah,
There was a guy in a tree.
my
and-
buddy Bill got shot the one day, and I freaking had to run. I was like, Bill, where you at? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, and then I never seen him again.
yeah, fucking Bill. I don't know why I went with Bill, but sounds
Yeah, that's
right.
an old man name. Oh dear. I gotta take a leak.
All right, I'll continue to talk. Go ahead. But yeah, so I mean, we did try quite a few things. William's got a bladder of a little kid, but yeah, we tried some new things this time. We moved some stuff around. I mean, this isn't the property we hunt on. Isn't our property, so we try to be like as courteous as possible. We try to like if people, we try to anyways. The best we clean up after ourselves. We try not to put stands where everybody else is. We try to ask if we can hunt there. So like we try to. It's almost like we go up and ask some. It's our family's property, but it's not like our family. It's my wife's family, his girlfriend's family's property. So we try our hardest to like not try to be not nice about it, but like it's not our property. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of it. We're not making other people mad. We want to make sure that since we get the privilege of hunting on this land, that we get, sometimes we have to humble ourselves and be like, hey, we can't do this, or hey, we shouldn't do this, or we should ask. I was just telling everybody that we might get mad about stuff sometimes in the hunt, but it's not our property. We have to be, courteous, and we have to try to like work around everybody else that hunts there. And
Yeah, we don't really have a whole lot of say so.
Yeah.
In any aspect.
And it is what it is, and we really enjoy it. So like I mean, I've been hunting there probably 7 years now, 5, 6 years, 7 years, something like that. And no one's ever hunted archery. You came in. We're having more archery shooters come in, so it's
still like the original people.
Don't-
They're just rifle.
yeah. But we still got to be.
And like we put, I mean, no offense to the people.
That definitely comes into archery too. You know what I mean?
It's part of archery.
I mean, they
it
do put work in, like,
Yeah,
to
like
do
they
the
all
field more than we do because we don't have the equipment and stuff like that. But
Yeah, like they mow and they got all their shanties and stuff. And I mean, we built our own this year or last year but like, yeah, they mow a lot and.
yeah, and the thing is, like, let's get off this topic because this is just like
it's just gonna drag
yeah.
on.
So it's just like it is what it is, and
Yeah.
we're like all I'm gonna say is, if you do have a piece of property that you're hunting on, just be courteous about it. It's a privilege that you're hunting on someone else's property. You know what I mean? Try to take care of it if you can. Try to be courteous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
as best as you can. I mean, not saying I do it 100%, but I try to when I can.
Oh yeah,
So-
like if there's a tree down, like get it, cut it off, or we'll push it off the side, whatever. Like simple stuff like that, whatever. How long's that been off?
I don't know. I realized you weren't talking that whole time, and I've been muting my mic, so then it ain't reverbing. So yeah,
Okay.
sorry. There was like a good, probably like a minute or so that we weren't talking. So
It's probably longer than a minute.
yeah, I didn't. I muted it because you sat here.
I must
and
bump
was
it when I take it off.
Well, I did it. That was my fault because when you
Oh, when
you
I
sat
left.
right here, I was talking and it was getting it a bunch on it. So I apologize, guys, if you
He'll just
we're
edit
trying
it
to
out.
yeah, we're trying. I'll just set it up, but we're trying a new setup this time and
Totally
see how it
new
goes.
setup, all new, because I got a headset, you got a mic, you got the camera, we got stuff you can't even see. It's like
Yeah, there's
very
gonna,
elaborate back there that you can't see. So.
eventually it's going to be a nice setup, and we'll get more official and stuff like that.
So,
but-
anyways, natural point of aim is what I was talking about. So that's what my buddy told me because I was having problems shooting long range with my bow because we need to work on that. And we were going to the Total Archery Challenge. And Cody told me to use the level on my sight. Well, it just wasn't working for me. It was making it worse. So I talked to my buddy, and he said, remember, we were on a light rifle team, and he said, remember our coach would tell us natural point of aim. So pretty much what that is, if anybody's not aware of what it is, you hold the gun or bow, whatever you're shooting, and you put it on the target comfortably. You're just comfortably. Hold it on the target, okay? Close your eyes for like 2 seconds, open them back up, and see where your sight's at. Like your sight, scope, whatever, on a gun, bow. If it's still in the same spot, don't adjust yourself. And go ahead, relax yourself, and take the shot. If it's not, you need to like make a small adjustment, put it back on where you're aiming at, close your eyes again, open them, until it gets on that where you're aiming at. So that helped me tremendously, and ever since then, that's what I've just keep instilling in myself and being consistent with shooting a bow.
Yeah, and whatever works for you. To be honest, that's actually how you're supposed to. That's part of setting up your bow initially, or trying to tune it. Actually, is when you're putting in a peep sight. You're supposed to actually pull back, close your eyes, sit it comfortably, and open your eyes, and wherever you're kind of like at is about like where your peep. Not exactly. I mean, you still have to adjust it, but that's where you're gonna be comfortable. That's why you can move your peep sight up and down before it gets set in. So it's actually, if you'd actually ever
because instead of you like trying to look up at it or down, or you're comfortably looking right through it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you missed. I don't know if we had the mic off before that, but he was talking about Total Archery Challenge. I told him to work with the bubble and stuff like that because
on the sight,
bubble, you need to make sure you're level. As long as your sight is level, that will work for you. And I've never paid attention to that before.
No, I haven't either. I'm like, what is that even on there for? Like, why do they put a level on a sight?
It's because you know what I mean. Because like if you think about it, there's a lot more into shooting a bow than you even realize because there's way more parts. We'll just say.
Oh yeah, it's just like mind-boggling.
Yeah, yeah. So way more parts that you can physically alter by how you're standing, your arms are, etc., compared to a gun. Because a gun, it's fixed. You know what I mean, for the most part, other than your sight.
Oh yeah, very fixed. Everything's.
But I'm saying you can't like a bow. If your arms to the right a little bit or to the left a little bit, or you're like too close, or you're too much tension on the string.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Is the one guy at our sportsman's club, we were talking about this today, not to cut you off. But so he had the guy that set up his bow, restrung it. He paper tuned it for him, and it was fine. And he switched releases from his thumb release back to a wrist strap. So he had a paper tune for that, and they're about the same height, and the guy paper tuned it for him, and it was a right on. And he was shooting inconsistently. And he asked the dude, he's like, hey, I thought you paper tuned this for my wrist strap. Like, what's going on? And he's like, let me see your bow. And he shot it. And he's like, no, it's you. You're moving it. You're not doing something right. It's you. So that just like kind of goes to show, you got to be consistent.
Yep. And, I'm with my bow. I'm relearning everything, and I haven't had enough time.
Because you got a new one.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have before season.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really soon, but it was you could have done it, sooner.
Yeah. I didn't plan on it, but whatever. So that's kind of like one thing we both need to work on is we both need to take at least a day to shoot out
full
of
day, like
shooting.
8-hour day.
Yeah, at least to shoot. Not even just shoot. I'm just saying like a day where we go to each stand that we have, shoot out of, put a target up.
Yeah, like a block,
spots,
like off the ground, like a deer, like deer height, not just on the ground.
Yep, and I've never done. I've only done that once. and I haven't done it ever since.
Yeah, we need to do it because like we got a blind this year. We moved out of their stand.
Yeah, these are all going to be different spots. We actually need to go to the stand and see if we need to cut out lanes. And
Yeah, that one too, the new one.
yeah. So that
I mean,
that's
even the
something we
old
need to
one
do.
too, because like
Yeah.
stuff falls over time.
True.
I was looking at that too. I'm like,
That one's pretty cleared because I cleared. We
well,
cleared the
if
freak
any,
out of it,
nah. I mean, the weeds are like pretty tall now, like everywhere up the path we
Pathway.
use and stuff.
yeah. And on a side note, I was looking into beets and stuff, and you're actually supposed to get sugar beets in a little bit sooner than what we thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like reading about it, and it's like you at least have to have it an inch deep, and you have to like.
We're
it's
gonna have
better
to
get
take
in,
a
like,
shovel up there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was looking at like some like non-tilled.
Yeah, like that
Stuff.
tiller didn't even like. I don't even think it went down an inch.
I mean,
when we
that
did the food
ground is
plot.
tough. I mean, if we could find, and they say like I was just briefly reading. I didn't get too deep, but they're like, oh, you need to test the soil, make sure you can
The
even grow
pH
it.
level
Yeah,
and
the
all
pH.
that.
So I was like, oh my god, that's a little bit like more.
We're not
work than I'm
farmers. We
gonna
just
do.
want to. We just want a food plot.
Yeah, and we're not even doing an acre, so like it's like.
Yeah, it's like what 10. It was like 15 foot by or 20 foot or whatever,
Yeah,
something
it's
like
really
that.
not big. So like,
No.
if anybody has any recommendations on like what we can do, that's like, I mean, we're fine with tilling it and everything, but like,
Not real deep.
yeah,
'Cause
but
it's hard.
yeah,
It's strip mine. It's an old strip
yeah.
mine. It's
So for
rough.
something that grows in rough ground, I mean, we tried wheat and stuff like that, but
Cereal rye. It was.
Cereal rye.
It did all right. It
was it
came
cereal
back
rye?
up.
Sorry, not cereal. Yeah,
Yeah.
not wheat. It wasn't wheat.
But I mean, also we could probably like put a little fertilizer to it, or maybe like get some potting soil and mix in when we till it.
Yeah.
That would probably help. I don't know. I'm not a farmer.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bunch we can do. I don't know how the people have time to do that. Like do like 5 acres of land and food plot. I don't have the time personally.
Yeah.
I don't know how people have the time and the money to invest in the equipment to do that. Like I understand if you have your own property and you.
Oh yeah, because it's like
accumulate
right
this,
out your
but-
back door, and like you already got a tractor and a tiller, and
Yeah.
or like a
like a rake
disc or whatever for your
discs,
tractor, like your big. You'd probably have to have a pretty decent sized tractor to do 5-acre food plot,
Yeah,
because that's a lot of land.
even one acre. Even 1 acre.
Even 1 acre would be gigantic, yeah, but
I don't know how people do it. So.
yeah, I don't
May-
know.
So, like, with that being said, I mean, we talked about broadhead. So, what is something you. Not. This is all seasons. This is like, what's something you think you need to work on? Like, each year, you're. Like, what's that one thing you're like, I need to do this more. I need to go out, do this, or I need to try to do this. What's, like, the one thing, like, the biggest thing that sticks out for you?
I wouldn't say there's like just one thing. I would say there's like maybe 2 or 3. One of them's definitely like I want to hunt more if we can. Like be out in the woods more, like
Mhm.
hunting and get more experience. Because like that one year was really nice because our jobs allowed us to hunt after work. Now we're stuck to maybe some weekends. Sometimes hardly if that, like maybe to noon, because by that time we got to be back home to like, cook lunch, get ready for the day, do the laundry or, whatever. I mean, our wives, well, I'm not married yet, but they do a lot of stuff. I mean, they do. Don't get me wrong. They cook and clean and everything. They do a lot. They're great. But
He's like trying to butter it up just in case they listen.
yeah, exactly. That's where I was going. I was definitely running that through my mind. But we like work as a team with our partners. So, we feel guilty if they're going to be at home by themselves. So like, we still got, it's summer right now. So we got grass to mow and weed eat and this and that and clean and sweep. And then of course we both take on side projects for other people, which, we probably shouldn't anyways. And it like ever, because we have hunting and we want to do archery shoots and 3D shoots and stuff. And
Yeah, maybe a little bit more selfish.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, be a little bit more selfish, and I want to hunt more. Like, not even like you said, not even just archery. Like I want to go out rifle more, which I went out a lot with my dad last year, even though I already got a deer. Just it was nice to just go out, not have to lug a gun around, and just kind of help him rather than trying to shoot your own deer. And then I kind of want to make it to flintlock season this year, um, which I might not, but kind of being hopeful both ways. Hopeful you shoot a buck in archery, or hopeful that you get to flintlock season.
Told
But
him to buy a doe tag.
yeah, I didn't. I'm not, because it's just me. I'm the only one that really eats deer meat. So the only thing that my girlfriend eats is the bologna and the hot stick and the jerky that I make. So I just make a lot of it in a jerky. Like everything, almost everything. Burger, the steaks. I know everybody's going to be like, "Oh, you waste steaks in a jerky?" Yes, I do. And I do get jerky chunks, get them cut, jerky cuts. But so I only get one tag, just a buck tag. 'Cause I feel like I'm just wasting it. So there's that. And then the second thing that I want to work on is like I need to practice more with whatever uh weapon I'm using. Like whether it's a bow, whether it's a rifle, or whether it's a flintlock. I just need to practice more in general. Like I never even shot my flintlock yet. And you're right. Like we need to shoot out of the blind. We need to shoot out of the tree stands. Just to get like it's not even I think it's like more of a mental thing that you're prepared for it. You're like, I'm prepared. I did this. I shot a target out of this tree stand. I'm totally prepared. Or I know what to do in this case that a deer comes up this way in the blind. Like I know what to do. I need to hold my bow here at this angle. I can shoot accurately. Whatever the case may be. And even with a rifle, like I probably haven't shot a deer rifle in or essentially my deer rifles, any of them. Oh man, I don't even know. A while, a long time, too long.
Yep. Well, we made a shooting bench. I guess we
Yeah,
just
well,
need to set
we
it up.
belong
I
to
haven't
the
shot it.
Sportsman's
Yeah,
Club.
we can do it too.
You can shoot 200 yards up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even know if mine are. Everybody checks them once a year. Like they're probably sighted, and I haven't bumped them or dropped them.
Yeah.
But then that's another thing. A flintlock's like almost like shooting a bow. It's open sights. You don't know if it's gonna go off. It's delayed. It's heavy. It's awkward.
But like, you want to do it, but how do you find the time to do it? Like that's
I
the
know,
hardest
right?
thing.
Like it's the summer. This summer's gone. And
Yeah.
I haven't shot my flintlock. I've had my flintlock done since April. I never even shot it. I don't have the time. Like
Yep.
I keep trying to make time to do it. I'm like, I'm gonna go up there and shoot this. I just at least once. Nope, because we're too busy with other, archery stuff, deer, side projects, house stuff.
I mean,
I could just go
yeah.
on. No, I'm not trying to like complain about it, but
Well, one thing is we went from renting to owning, and we still did a lot for renting, but also we didn't want to go. We need to update this. We need to fix this because this is ours. We need to make sure it looks nice. Now that we bought houses, now we like feel like okay, we get stressed out. Like this needs done. Like this.
oh
needs
yeah,
fixed.
yeah.
So it's like a different like we still took care of our houses when we rented them, but like I guess we didn't go the extra mile that we do now. So like the extra steps.
Yeah,
we
just
do,
to keep up with even just
Yeah.
maintenance stuff.
Exactly. So it's like, and some stuff I definitely put off that I shouldn't, and
Yeah, like you have a lot of stuff you put off with your house. I mean, you got most of it done,
Yeah,
but like
well, that's the problem. Everyone says once you get moved in, you don't want to.
even though you sit there and
Yeah.
when you're not moved in, you're not looking at it all the time.
Mhm.
Now you just see it every day, and I guess it makes you care less. Or did you think it'd be the other way around?
It's funny. I get lunch, and you know what I did during lunch? I put up some trim during my lunch.
Oh, really?
Because I have to take a mandatory lunch, and I put trim up during my lunch break.
Oh.
So, because I was like, I'm getting this done. I have it painted. There's a lot of things with my house is that I need to do other things before I can do certain things. Like I didn't want to put my trim up because I actually need to replace a piece of flooring because it expanded, etc. I'm going off too far, but I need to replace that piece of flooring before I should put up trim. But I said, screw it, I'm putting it up because who knows when I'm going to get to that piece of
Yeah,
flooring.
yeah.
So I
You're
put it up.
already on the trim.
I'll
Don't
just
make
take
it bigger.
It just, I didn't want to do it twice. I want to take it apart,
Yeah,
then put the
I
flooring
get
in and
it.
put it back in. So I was
Yeah,
like,
take it back off
eh.
again. And
But so that's what this podcast is about. Just regular people that know the struggles that we're coming
yeah,
through.
we're not
And
rich. We're not sponsored. We just have a YouTube channel that we're like slowly becoming larger at, making a little bit of money off of it, like by selling
yeah, a tiny
stuff. Not even
Yep.
from YouTube, just like merchandise stuff.
bit. Yeah, yep. So we are PA Blue Collar Outdoors, but our YouTube is Tipsy Rippers. Most people make two different YouTubes for
their
that, but we're
podcast.
just putting it under one because we're not big enough that it. I don't, it affects our algorithm, etc. But I'm not going to get into that. But so if you're listening to us on there, make sure to go on our YouTube.
Check it out. We got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we do all random
Everything.
shit. Yeah, we do. So you want anything? Make sure you comment.
Yeah, if you want to
on
see a
there.
video.
Just make sure you check it out. We post these videos all the time on our YouTube, Tipsy Rippers. But back to our conversation. It looks like we're closing up on almost an hour here, so we'll go ahead and
Okay, go into yours. Like, what is the one thing that you want to work on, even if it's 2 or 3?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We already talked about like shooting out of a blind or shooting out of our spots, shooting guns in general too.
Yeah, you haven't
like,
shot yours in a long time either.
Last time I shot mine was with Dean. We shot it and we got Nick sighted in, so that was quite a while ago.
Yeah,
when I
see,
shot mine.
yeah, same.
So
I haven't.
We'll say about squirrel hunting. I should have shot it way more than I
Oh
did.
yeah, that perfect example.
So, I mean, who knows if we're gonna get to do that before archery season? Which I'd like to go out one day at least. But, so let's think.
Or even like dove.
Dove. If we
Try
do,
dove.
yeah, if we
Try
do
it.
go, if we have time.
That'd be nice.
Definitely go.
We could smoke them.
Yeah, smoking would be good.
I don't know how to make
poppers.
dove poppers. I just watch Meat Eater. We could just wing it.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be too
What's
hard.
the worst thing
You
that
have
could
to get-
happen? It's
do
probably
they
like
do it
cooking
like
chicken.
jalapenos and stuff. How they do it?
Something like that.
Okay.
I don't even remember. I haven't watched that episode in a long time. I have to like read.
Yeah. So I mean that is I think everybody wants to work on all that stuff too. Like
I mean,
in
we're real
general.
bad about it. I
Yeah.
feel.
I feel like but how do you make the time or how do you not feel guilty about? I mean that's the thing about I know I haven't said what I want to work on, but that's the thing about like rifle hunters is some people just go in and they don't shoot at all. They just go in and hunt and they don't practice. Archery people too. They just go in and hunt.
Oh,
they
yeah,
don't
they do,
practice.
yep.
And that was me. I practiced right 2 weeks before season. I'd start shooting. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. So that falls in line with it, and I'm 100% guilty of that. What I want to work on is actually obtaining the gear that I need. Like,
That's a big one.
it's huge because like I've always not bought anything I need. Most of the stuff I just wear. Like I would like to have one set of hunting clothes that fits me comfortably. That's not super loud. Like I'm sick. Like my pants go.
Oh yeah,
Like,
because
I
they're
hate that.
waterproof.
Yeah, I hate it, and I don't want them to be like super puffy or super like. I mean, that's the problem. You need like for each season, you need different gear. But I don't care if I just have one nice set and I use it and for some. I mainly hunt archery, so if I buy one set for archery season,
Yeah, you'll probably be set for
which I'm okay.
maybe not
yeah.
rifle because it's cold, but
But how do you justify spending $400 on like stuff like that?
yeah,
Like,
just to wear an archery.
yeah.
This is just light stuff and it's waterproof. You can't really wear it in rifle season, so like it's kind of useless other than archery.
yeah, and I don't know. I've never used great camo, so I don't know.
Yeah, ours
Relatively,
is just,
if I could see it being. Sorry, I think I interrupted you, but I could see it being important when it's cold or like you're backpacking and minimalizing sweat and stuff like that. That's important, and you know what I mean. Maybe whatever if you're really worried about the camo actually working to camo you. But in my instance, like deer in general, their eyesight's kind of bad. So
yeah, it's just like shapes and camo just kind of breaks up your shape. They can still see you moving. And
Yeah, I mean, well, that could be a conversation. Like, I'm not gonna get into it too much.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, yeah.
we
That's
always
good.
get
That's
on
a
two
good one
sides.
though. That's a good one. Like obtaining the correct gear, like whether it
Yeah,
be, clothing or, this year we both finally got, well, I didn't. I just used my dad's, but rangefinders and cuz like before we would just borrow Dean's. We half the time we didn't even take it with us. We just guessed a yardage, which blows my mind that we did that and we were successful.
yep,
Blows my mind.
yep. And now, like, it's like I'm too into it, but it's like we knew the yardage and we knew, you know what I mean. We didn't
Yeah,
have to
we like
rely
guessed
on it.
everything. We like that just blows my mind that we were that set on guessing yardages that we killed deer guessing yardages, which
Yep.
that's what they used to do. I mean,
Yeah, and I mean that could go towards like a ethical thing for sure,
yeah,
but
yeah, like
at the
being,
same time, it's like what you do before rangefinders. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You
exactly.
learn the ranges. What I used to do is I didn't have rangefinder. I'm broke. I use Mossio camo. I'm broke. Whatever.
Yeah, from Walmart.
Yeah,
We buy
yeah. What's
Walmart. I
wrong with
buy
it?
Walmart stuff.
There's nothing wrong with it, in my
No,
opinion.
no,
But
no. Some of it's kind of nice.
I'm gonna say like where we're at, don't matter. But what I used to do is I would pick up 3 different colors of ribbon and I would walk my yardage ribbon it. And when I
On
first
the
started,
trees.
I ribbon around trees. This is 20, this is 30, and you know what I mean. I would mark probably a bunch of trees. That's what I started off. So I know, which is still good to do. I just never
Yeah,
have time
because
to
it's a
do
quick
it.
reference.
And especially when they're running, you're like, okay, they're at 30, they're at 20. You know what I mean, general area. So, yep.
54.
54. So I would say one other thing I would like to work on this year personally is my spot and stock game. Like I,
Yeah, you're big on that.
I wanted,
That's yeah.
I want this year, whether or not we'll see how the first day goes. If we do see like bucks or whatever, you know what I mean. But if not, if I'd like to spot and stock a doe, so that's kind of like my plan this year in archery. I might still go after a buck, but like that's my main goal right now.
It's
Is
just
like
at least a
get that.
deer.
Yeah, I mean, I could have gotten deer spot and stalking like a lot of times, but I only used to get buck tags because there's no sense in me getting doe tags just like you because no one eats it.
Hmm.
So that's something I want to get good at, like better. Like I want to be and not and be like I think I'm too worried about making a bad shot or jumping the deer and missing and hitting them in the butt or something because something I would do. You know how I am. I'm
Yeah,
fucking scatterbrained.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like you walk up on them and they jump up and you get the opportunity and they might be just walking slow and you're just like in between a tree.
yeah. So I mean I think it would be a rush too. Like I think it like that's my
Yeah,
thing
because
is I
you're
like
like
to challenge.
always on your toes. There's always like action. You're not just sitting there waiting for them to come to you. You're like kind of more or less, how close can I get to them? Are they gonna see me if I go over there? What are they gonna do if I go over there? Like, like a
Hmm.
whole like you're constantly like. Whereas like if you're in a tree stand, you're like, okay, are they gonna come over here? How close are they gonna come? What are they doing? And you're just in there. You only get one rush. Whereas like when you're spotting and stalking, it's the entire time because you're
Yep.
constantly trying to. You see a deer and you're trying to get up to it.
And it's actually really really hard when you're actually trying to do it. Seems like I've done it every time when I wasn't trying to do it. Or like when I first started to hunt, I was like success. I could have actually successfully gotten something, but when I first started hunting, I was scared, like that it wasn't legal or like the buck wasn't legal, etc. So those are the two main things I want to work on. Um,
So
and
spot and stalk and getting the correct gear.
yeah, which I've
I
been
wouldn't say
slowly doing
correct,
it.
but like
Yeah,
nice gear that's like decent.
yeah, just for the right stuff, and I'm cheap, so it's hard. Like it's hard, but I'm trying to work up to that and try to buy the right things. So I mean, how you want to? So we can end it with like one. We'll make this one hard since we'll make this one hard. What's one piece of advice you would give? Th- This is something I want to make sure that we try to do. Is like what one piece of advice you would give to a new hunter, like other than I know we talked to the Andrew, but like what is the one piece of advice you'd give a hunter going into rifle, not archery, not muzzleloader, into rifle, like telling them like advice.
Just one.
You can branch it off, whatever, but like what's
So I would say, uh, make ethical shots. Try and do just one shot. A decent one shot. Don't be like shooting at them, running across a field at 300 yards because you think you can do it.
But how do you like? Let me branch off with that question with another question. Like, how do you? You're excited. You see a big buck or you see a big doe, and it's your first time, and you shoot, you miss. You're like, fuck. It's still standing there. Shoot, miss, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, how do you make yourself calm, or how do you make yourself like patient? I guess. Like, what kind of like when you were growing up with your dad, like say you seen a doe and you didn't have a doe tag, but you were like, oh, should I shoot
Yeah,
it?
it's still
Like,
exciting.
yeah. So what's your experience where you tell people to be patient
I
with
would,
that?
yeah, I would say like just calm down because you don't really know what's gonna happen at all. Like anything can happen with deer, so just like keep an open mind because you don't know what's gonna happen. There could be a buck coming behind the doe, so maybe don't shoot the doe. You don't know.
Yeah. But like, is there anything like specific, like breathing, or just kind of like
Like
not
how I
thinking
calm
about it?
myself down, I count backwards from 10, like real slowly.
Even in
Or
an instance like with a say you
yeah,
didn't see,
yeah,
even if you like when you're first starting, and you see a 4 point with two on each side, and you're like, oh, I can't tell if it's a legal or it is legal, and you kind of go in that why that
oh
line
yeah.
or
You're like,
whatever.
should I shoot it? Should I not shoot it?
So
Um,
would you do something like that? Count backwards from 10?
yeah, yeah, and like just be like, okay, well, like I tell myself worst case scenario, like, oh, it's not legal if it's too far away. But if it's like real close, be like, oh, it might be legal. It might be legal. And then you get yourself all excited and worked up. So you kind of want to just keep yourself calm and just be like, okay, let's just calm down. Let's use our brains here. Get out your binoculars if you have them and look, closer look or your scope from your gun and like look, make sure, like back to the ethical shots, it's a legal deer. And then you can kind of get worked up about it because you're wanting to shoot it. And once again, back to what I said earlier, make an ethical shot on it.
Yep.
And then after you have went through with all those, then you can get worked up. I would say.
Yep, good advice. I would definitely, so for mine, I would pretty much say the same thing. I would say in rifle, definitely don't be overly eager. And if you don't think, say you're going after a buck, or even if you're going after a doe, just make smart decisions. Don't rush it. Like, don't, like, this is, because when you're in the moment, even if you're going after a doe, it can be just exciting, especially for your first time.
Oh yeah,
You
any
get
deer.
that adrenaline,
Mm-hmm.
you know how it is. You get real excited and pumped, and you can make mistakes easily. And the best thing is just kind of keep in the back of your head that, you know what I mean. In my opinion, this is a living animal. This is a living creature.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. If you were a doe, would you want to get shot in the gut and have to run for 10 miles, or in the butt, and you live with a shot in your ass and you
Yeah.
don't have a medic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not, you're not a human. So it's like, try your best to like you said, make an ethical shot. And I would just, keep that in the back of your head. Like,
Yeah,
if
like
you
just
were
because
that-
you have a rifle that you can shoot like crazy distances with, and it's probably gonna kill the deer, like still keep that in mind in the back of your head.
Yep, and especially if it's a big buck. You know what I mean? You might want to take that shot, but
It does happen though. It does.
yeah,
yes.
I guarantee, and I've done it. I've experienced it, and
Yeah.
but I think I've always kind of like myself. I think I've been more hesitant about that because I want to make a good shot or whatever. Not everybody thinks like that.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
they don't.
moment, you definitely don't. But I think that's great advice. And if you take anything from us in any of these podcasts, take that one little thing of advice. We appreciate you guys stopping in.
Yeah, and watching our podcast.
Definitely. I am Cody.
And I'm William.
Thanks for stopping in the PA Blue Collars Outdoors. And check out.
See you next time.
Yep. See ya. Tipsy Rippers. Check it out.